Hi everyone, happy Friday. I hope you're feeling okay today. I a few months ago I made a video about how I was going to discuss more existential anxiety topics, and I realized it's been a while since I've done one. And a client of mine actually requested a topic that I have made a video about before, but maybe not to the extent that um, really is helpful. And so that's why I want to talk about solipsism today. Before you're worried about this video triggering you, I'm not really going to go in depth about the philosophical side or the possibility of solipsism because, as you guys know, the thing about having existential fears and what makes them so tricky is that you will never, ever, ever be able to fully know for sure the answer to one of those questions. So, the questions of solipsism is really about if you have questions of what if I'm alone in this world, or what if, just the hyper awareness of your own consciousness, and the question of what if that's all there is. And so I wanted to bring a refreshing intake into how you can deal with fears of solipsism in a perspective that can actually help you and not get stuck in dwelling on the answer or trying to prove the solipsism theories wrong, because as much as we would like to, it's just never going to be possible, because the whole point of philosophy is to ask questions that we can't answer with science, that we can't prove. And so any what if question about existence, what if we are alone in this universe, what if we're all connected, whatever it is that scares you, um, we can never answer because we can never actually prove or know for sure. So I want to start off today by kind of asking you to reflect on what exactly is this fear of solipsism about. The fear of solipsism is about the fear of being alone, essentially. And very often, when we're afraid of something, what we try to do to deal with that fear is go into the actual fear itself and trying to disprove it, or trying to find a counter argument to find security. So, for example, trying to disprove solipsism or trying to find a solution to solipsism. What I like to do in this video today is actually go to the root of solipsism. So instead of going forward, to actually trace it back so we can understand what the fear is actually about. And once we understand what a fear is actually about, it becomes much more tangible to work with it. So the fear of solipsism ultimately comes down to the fear of existentially being alone. And any fear that we ever have comes from our programming. So if you are scared of solipsism, if you are scared of being alone, the chance is very large that for some reason you are afraid to be alone with yourself because of something traumatic that you've experienced in your past, because of a low confidence that you can deal with difficult emotions. But in the core of it, it comes down to the fear of you being alone because you've attached your sense of safety to people or things outside of you. And the idea that you can't rely on those things outside of you scares you, because then if all you have is yourself, oh my God, I don't feel safe with myself. And therefore, that's why solipsism scares you. I used to have a big fear of solipsism in my existential crisis. I, to this day, still haven't found an answer to it yet, even though my feeling tells me that I'm not alone, that I feel connected, that I feel like we're all individuals on this planet having a similar experience, but that we are all here and all connected. That was something I did struggle with. And honestly, the core of that was, for me, I was really, really scared of being alone in existence because I felt alone within myself. I felt untaken care of by myself. I felt afraid of myself because I couldn't handle my emotions. I couldn't handle my experience. And so the more I started to really spend time on my own, and trying to just feel a sense of love and connection within myself, because now my whole sense of safety is anchored within myself, is anchored in how I am compassionate with myself and how I love myself and how I feel a sense of love within, that's where I now get my sense of safety. The idea of solipsism automatically doesn't scare me anymore, because I think, well, if I am alone, I got my back. I feel good within myself. I feel supported within myself. And so it's not that I like the idea of solipsism now, but it doesn't freak me out to the extent that it used to, because I'm no longer afraid of being alone, because now I feel loved and safe within myself. So that's one aspect of it, is to try and reflect within yourself on, why am I so terrified of the concept of being alone? Why am I so terrified of the thought that I might be alone in this world? Of course, there's another aspect to it, and that's also what I want to talk about, is we are social beings. If you look at how the brain is wired, the human brain, is we are programmed to feel safe when we are accepted by our community, because then we have bigger chance of survival. We come from mammals, we are mammals, which means that we originally live in tribe, we live in herd. And so if you are excluded from the herd, if you are rejected from the herd, from the tribe, you are at a bigger risk of being attacked by a predator or by an animal or by a other tribe that wants to kill you. And so there's, in our biology, in our wiring, there's that fight or flight response that goes off whenever we feel alone. Not because being alone in essence is wrong or unsafe, but because we are just programmed that way, because our brain is programmed to survive, and it's been taught to survive by being in a community, being protected, that's why so many people struggle with social anxiety. Ultimately, it's because our sense of safety comes from being connected to other people. And so when we start thinking about solipsism, for whatever reason, that triggers the part of your brain that is afraid of being alone, because it's more at risk of danger and not surviving. And so if you think about it this way, in a funny way, our fear of solipsism actually is more reason to believe how connected we really are. Because if we did not need others to survive, if we did not need other people and animals around us to survive, then we wouldn't be afraid of being alone. So think about it like that. The fact that you have a fear of solipsism, the fact that you have a fear of being alone, means that our sense of safety and survival depends on connection with others, means that probably we are very connected to others, and that's part of our sense of being alive, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. But that also helps you understand that whenever you feel this fear of solipsism, don't go and dwell on the theories. Don't go and dwell on, is it real or not? Ask yourself, okay, what is this really about? This is about, I'm scared of being alone. Why? Why don't you feel comfortable being alone? Why don't you feel supported by yourself? Why are you so afraid of yourself? Asking that question. And also, what is this really about? Well, I thrive by being connected. I thrive by feeling safe and supported by others. My whole sense of safety depends on connection and community. So of course that thought's gonna scare me. And I think that's the only way you can ever really deal with existential questions, is by going to the root of what they are really about and creating a sense of understanding and compassion for yourself. You shouldn't expect yourself to not be scared of the concept of solipsism, because like I said, we thrive on connection. So of course that thought of what if we're alone is going to scare you. But instead of trying to disprove it, which you never can do, because we can never ever know the answer, what you can do is create compassion for the part of you that's scared of that, and reassure it and make it feel seen and make it feel loved. And that's how that fear starts to get a bit more comforted. Just like if a child were to come up to you and say, Mom, I'm really, really scared, and you can't really take the fear away from the child. What you can do is just be there for them and hold them in compassion and say, it's okay, I'm here. And that will make the child feel safe as well. So if you treat your fears this way within yourself, you're not only going to soften the fear, but you're also going to strengthen that connection within yourself, because you feel that no matter what fear I have, I'm here for myself, and I can feel a sense of warmth and love by myself, basically. And that's how I've always dealt with my existential fears. Even when I'm thinking of death, I'm not comfortable with the thought of death, in the sense that I'm not happy about it, but I can accept it because I know that I can handle the emotions around it, because I have that sense of compassion and comfort within myself. And also, again, because I know, what is it really about? It's about the fear of being disconnected from the people that we love. And that's the reason why we're here. And so instead of focusing on the disconnection of death, I focus on the connection of life, and knowing that that's what it's really about. So I don't know if this video helped you or not. Feel free to leave a comment with questions or insights, or I know that most of you want me to give you an answer or a clear, like, a thought that you can hold on to, but this, like, learning to overcome existential questions is much more about learning to deal with difficult emotions than it is actually to deal with existence, because life is never the problem. If life was the problem, everyone would be panicking. The problem isn't life, the problem is your perspective on life and the relationship you have within yourself and with your emotions. So please never forget that. I wish you a lovely day today. I hope you guys are well, and I will see you in my next video.